All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Eddy Live Show, episode number 207. I'm here with British YouTuber Mama Lucy. How are you?
Hi guys, I'm good.
It's so nice to meet you. We've been trying to get you here for a while, yeah?
Yeah, it's been a year.
It's been a year.
We
I
made
apologize.
it happen.
I apologize for that.
No.
Sometimes it's just like you get crazy, right?
Oh, it's nobody's fault. Everybody's busy.
Yeah, but I did see you on Halloween.
Yeah.
Right? Is that a big day for you with the kids and with like being the teacher and all that stuff? It must be massive, yeah?
Yeah, my son says that Halloween is his favorite day of the year.
Is it? Okay.
So every year I let the kids choose what costume we'll wear and the whole family will dress up. So
Okay.
that whole month I am up every night making costumes.
You make them? Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, they don't choose things that I can buy in the shops.
Really? Okay,
They-
well, tell me a little bit about that before we start. Because my daughter, I have a little girl, and it was like princess. And then it was Hermione Granger, right? And then it was, who was it? Jason Voorhees last year. Because she's never obviously seen the Jason
Okay.
movies, obviously. No, but so there's this Mexican YouTuber that he does like these sort of spoof sort of things, and Jason's in it, and he's just like a Mexican gardener, and he like does the hedges and stuff like that, right? So she thinks he's just like this Mexican guy, right? And also there's a Backstreet Boys parody where all like Jason and Michael Myers and those guys, they just sing Backstreet Boys. So that's what she thinks Jason Voorhees is. So last year she's like, oh, let's be Jason. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, anyways, that's who she thinks Jason Voorhees is, yeah.
I was going to say, I saw her last year and she did not go the cute route.
It was the first time. So I was thinking to myself, we have to, usually it's princessy stuff. And yeah, no, it was the first time for me. So it was I don't have a boy, so it was kind of fun first time. Usually it's princess everything, and I'm thinking maybe it's going to be Barbie this year. We'll see. I don't know.
Oh, I could get down with that thing.
You get down with the Barbie, yeah? Okay.
I don't think my boys are going to choose it, though.
You have two, right? And they're
Two
both boys?
boys.
Ah, okay, okay. How's the audio? Good? Yeah, audio is great. Yeah, okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's all good. Okay, perfect. So cool. So why don't you tell me the story behind what brought you here originally?
To Taiwan, well,
Yeah.
I just love traveling.
Okay.
I left England when I was quite young.
Okay.
And did my first trip and came back. And as soon as I came back, I got the fever, got the travel fever.
Gotcha.
And so I was just working and educating myself and trying to get back out there. And
Okay.
when I did my second big trip, I was in Malaysia just hanging out, doing my own thing.
Yep.
And I met this big group of foreigners. Everybody was foreigners.
Yeah. There's foreigners, yeah.
But they were from South Africa, Canada, America.
Okay.
And it was a very mixed group. And they started telling me that they were all traveling together because they were all working in Taiwan.
Okay.
So somebody in the friendship group had got married in Thailand and come to Malaysia, and they just sold it so well. They loved their life here. They loved their jobs. They loved their friendship groups. They loved the experiences they were having.
Okay.
They made it sound sweet. Even things like the noise pollution, they were like, it's amazing.
I just got back from Canada, and the first thing I noticed was how quiet it is. We landed in Vancouver, and then my sister's living on the island, so we had to take a 2-hour ferry. And as soon as we got on the ferry, everybody's like, oh, the ferry's going to be packed. And it was like a quarter full. You know, for them it was like super full, and it was so quiet, and everybody's like using their inside voices. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's so quiet. It's kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they raved about it because it was, I guess for many of them, it was a short-term
Okay.
situation that they were in.
Yep.
So yeah, they just encouraged me to come and to have that experience. And so a week later, it was back in the day where we didn't have like we didn't have like Wi-Fi and stuff. So I had to go and find an internet cafe.
How long have you been here then? I mean,
14 years.
Oh, okay. I remember those days too.
Yeah, so I went and found like a little internet cafe and sent them an email. And you don't know when a young person is going to check their emails again.
Yeah.
So luckily they checked their emails, and I was like, hey, like if you're serious, I'm going to fly over at the end of the week. And they gave me their spare bedroom and threw me on their scooter and took me to work with them and showed me the ropes, showed me how to order food and how to get around and how to ride a scooter and all of those things. And I was just welcomed into this big friendship group, and that was just such a great way to start. Even though it wasn't the local way to start, I didn't get into the meeting Taiwanese people or learning Chinese until much later.
Oh, for sure.
But it was a nice cushion.
No, I think when you come here, you have to be comfortable. You have to like it first, because also for me, I came here. I came by myself. I applied for like a teaching job, and I did like the online interview. This was 20 years ago, so there was also no. Yeah, it was the internet cafe sort of deal, and it was kind of crazy. It was really cool, and I planned on coming for 1 or 2 years, and it's been 20 now. Yeah.
20.
It's a long time.
20 so far.
So far, yeah. No, it's good. I mean, when I actually went back this summer to Canada, I feel a bit weird, like a bit of a little bit out of place, honestly. Things have changed so much. When I talk to people about Canada, the Canada that I know is like 20 years ago. It's very different now. So when I go back, I definitely feel a little out of place, honestly. Yeah. Have you been back to the UK since, you've been here a few times, I would guess, or? Yeah,
I went back a few times, took the kids back after.
Tell me about that.
Them. But just the same.
Yeah.
It's a strange sensation to go back and be able to understand everybody that's talking around you, and
not being able to tune it out.
Not being able to tune it out, but also knowing that it's rude to participate in somebody else's conversation.
It's very weird. Like I said, one of the first times I went back after 3 or 4 years being here, I went to, I think it was in Vancouver Airport, and I was alone. I was in this, like a food court or something, and I can hear everybody's conversation, and I do speak Chinese, but I'm able to tune it out, right?
Yeah.
But English I can't tune out. I speak Spanish. My family's Mexican, right? But Spanish is like 50-50, but English is not possible for me to tune out. So I'm sitting there eating like my fast food burger, and you just hear people talking, and I'm like, stop talking. Oh no, it's weird. It's definitely weird. Yeah.
It's strange because I think I don't know whether I've become a prude. People are talking about extremely explicit things in public, and I'm like, and then he did what?
That's crazy. Oh my God.
Whereas I don't know whether people here are just more reserved or whether they're having those conversations and I'm just not paying attention. But suddenly being able to hear all this gossip is quite... It's a lot to take in.
It's funny because when I was like I was saying, I was on that ferry, and the first thing that's different is marijuana is legal.
Oh.
So everywhere I went stunk like weed, right? Like everywhere. The ferry was like, every like 10 minutes or so, it's just like you smell like weed, right? And I was like, wow, okay, very different. And there was this young guy chatting, like he had his phone on speaker, chatting with his girlfriend, and she's just like, yeah, so you need to get yourself checked because I have herpes, right? And it's like the speaker is so loud, and I'm there with my mom and my wife and my daughter, right? And my daughter's like, she doesn't know what it is, and I'm looking at my mom and look at my wife like, okay, interesting, this is how it is now. Okay, so yeah, definitely, I definitely understand what you're saying. Yeah,
it causes some awkward
You're like,
situations.
should I pretend I didn't hear that? It's like, what am I doing here? Yeah.
You're like, I know a good doctor.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, yeah. But so you came here originally for teaching, right? So let's keep going on with your story, yeah?
Yeah.
So you came here, your friends picked you up, you had like the full like foreigner experience right from the beginning, right? And how did you, were you teaching in the UK or what were you doing over there?
Back in the UK, I was studying. I was doing an apprenticeship.
Okay.
And I wasn't teaching as such, but I was helping young adults with learning disabilities.
Okay.
To teaching them how to live and follow regular life.
Okay.
Like life skills, basically, and children art and design and running youth clubs and youth centers.
Okay.
So I've always just been I've always wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
From a very young age, I always wanted to be a teacher. I always wanted to be a mother. I wanted to teach so that I would have the holidays and the free time to be a mother, because both of those things were so important to me.
Beautiful.
But compared to everybody else in my family, I was just taking my time doing it.
Okay.
You know, like
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to find the right person. I wanted to have the knowledge and the experiences before I started all of those things.
For sure. No, I think it's amazing. I also, I was a soccer coach before I came here, so not really like a teacher per se, but definitely loved hanging out with kids, and yeah, that's one of my favorite things. So when I came here, I found that the soccer coaching sort of skills transferred over like super well. Taught kindergarten, loved kindergarten, one of my favorite jobs of all time. I think it's probably my favorite. Probably my favorite was kindergarten because, I don't know, little kids are awesome. So when I had my own daughter, it was like a second childhood. Love it. So much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think every age has something to give, and I'm slowly learning that as I open up.
Okay. How old are the kids, if you don't mind me asking?
My children.
Yeah.
My eldest just turned 7 last week.
Okay, still little then. Yeah.
And my youngest turned 4 last month.
Okay. Oh, very cool. Okay.
So 7 and 4.
And that's and you get to make the costumes every year for them, yeah?
Yeah, at some point they're going to realize that I suck at making costumes, and they'll figure out that there's better ones in the shops, hopefully.
To be honest, I know like 3 people like in the world that actually make their costumes, which is pretty awesome. So kudos to you, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to look on Amazon, and I'm just super like not creative at all. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, all you need is a glue gun.
A glue gun, yeah. We have a couple comments here. Let me just check. From Amy. Totally know what you mean. When I went back to the UK, it was so quiet. Agree, 100%. It was eerily quiet for me. And Lucy, you look so pretty. From Amy.
Oh,
Yes.
I love you, Amy.
Amy's awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, your journey. Let's keep going with that. You're teaching, right? And yeah, tell me a little bit more about that, the teaching part.
So I think when I first came here, it took me a while to get into the swing of how teaching in Taiwan differs from the UK.
Yeah.
And every school has a different set of requirements, and the expectations of you are different, and it took me a while to warm up to all of that. But in general, I just love helping people, and I love educating them and seeing their smiles. So you find a way, right?
Yeah,
you
for
find
sure.
a way. And I'm a hard worker, I'm a reliable worker, and those 2 things make me better at my job than half the teachers out there.
Yeah, to be honest, yes, definitely. A lot of the teachers that I know, unfortunately, hate teaching. And they do not like kids. So when I had my daughter, I've also had the experience where I've had some really bad, like, Chinese assistant teachers that were just like I said, I've been here for a long time, and I was here, I saw like the hitting, I saw like really bad stuff. And so when we had my daughter, I was like, she's not going to school until it's like the last year of kindergarten where she can actually talk and she can actually tell me what's happening. Because here, I've had like 2-year-olds dropped off who were still in diapers, like dropped off at your kindy. And I love kids, so it's okay for me. But some of the people that do not like kids, they could not handle a 2-year-old. So there were some pretty bad situations for sure.
Yeah, I watched your episode that you did with Cole.
Okay.
And you guys talked a lot about their education system and how much you like and dislike it.
You're good.
In Taiwan and back home and
Yes.
stuff. And I thought that episode was really interesting.
Thank
so
you. I
guys,
appreciate
go
it.
back and watch that.
Thank you. Check that out if you guys. Unfortunately, I don't remember the numbers by heart, but Cole is awesome. I think that was about like last December, November, something like that. Yeah.
That was a great episode.
Thank you.
And I related to a lot of what you guys were saying there because, like, I love education and I love kids.
Yeah.
And I think it is. I'm trying to pick my words carefully.
No, it's
live.
okay. We're chatting. It's all. It's just free chat. It's all good. All good.
But realistically, like if we're realistic,
Yeah.
you have. How many children do you have now?
I just have the one.
The
I
one
just have
daughter,
the one
right?
girl. Yeah.
And it's tough.
It's tough.
Taking care of one kid, making sure that they are safe and they are happy and they're having a wonderful childhood and everything is going well. It's a really tough thing to do as a parent.
Sure.
And so when parents drop their kids off at school and there are 30 kids in a class to one teacher or maybe an assistant, but
It's
they're
tough.
expecting the teacher to keep their kids safe and happy and having a wonderful childhood and also educate them. I'm like,
It's tough.
they're not miracle workers, guys.
Exactly.
Like and so I think, I eventually got out of the school system.
Okay.
And I'm not saying never. I'm not saying I'll never go back.
No,
Well-
sure. I agree. I 100% agree. We got a couple other comments here. Jody Elias is saying hello. Alina. Oh, I can't even read that.
Oh, what's Alina
too.
saying?
Alina
I
saying
love
best
you,
teacher.
Alina.
Best teacher. So those are your fans there. All right.
My friends.
Your friends. Yes.
Got good friends.
You got good, that's what you need, right? To be honest, for me too, like I said, here it's a little crazy. My daughter's going into grade 6, and I think from like grade 2 on, there's like midterms, like local school, right? There's like midterms and all that, and then they start to give pressure. And then I think most people, they'll put their kids in like some kind of after school, like just all these extra classes and stuff. So the kids don't really have a chance to be a kid. My daughter does her school. She has a couple things that she likes, and that's pretty much it. I mean, she finishes her homework, and that's it, because I can't really help her with the homework. My wife does, but they end up fighting because it's like, because my daughter's kind of a little more like me, where I think she coasts by like a B. Okay, I was like a C- guy, but she's kind of like a B-ish, B-, and my wife is like A, right? So my wife would think, she kind of expects, well, it's so easy for me to get A's, so you should get A's. So my daughter was like, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough. We're a good balance, I think, for her. But yeah, it's tough.
It's really tough, and I think even if the parents are okay with lower scores, like as parents, we can see that our kids have so much more to give than just what the school is offering.
Yep.
So I think it's fine, but even as parents, we can tell our children that, but they're still going to school and they're still listening to their teachers and their peers.
This guy's number 1. This guy's number 2. And you're like,
Yeah, and even if it's, apparently they're not allowed to say it anymore.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. But they all know it because they all compare their scores and they're all looking for a little bit of extra attention, right? Which
For
is
sure. Yeah.
expected. So my son quite often comes home a little upset because he's never number 1.
Well,
He's number 1 in my eyes.
of course. Well, it's tough. I mean, if that ever happened with me, I would have never even been top 10 in like the 20 people class. School's tough, and I think that there's different. You're a teacher, so you would know more than me. But there's different kinds of intelligence, right? Like some people are good at different things, and myself, I was just I don't know. I always did kind of like the minimum to kind of just, C minus, passed everything, and I failed a few things as well. So I remember having to do high school, like an extra year of high school, because I failed too many classes. But yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah. I was a coaster too. I was just filling a chair. That's how I feel about my school experience. I was filling a chair. Like, I wasn't at the top of the class where the teachers doted on you. But I also wasn't naughty where I was remembered.
Yeah.
So I was just there. If I came back and there was...
totally forgotten.
Yeah, like a teacher wouldn't remember my name. And so that's something that I really care about with my students. I make sure every day I tell them that I love them, and I hug them, and
that's really cute.
Make sure that they know that they're seen. They're always seen. They're always respected. They're always loved. Like, it's not about the score at all.
I think that's great, because I also had the same situation. So I come from a really small town, and I have a lot of older cousins, and I have an older sister who was kind of like, we can't really say the black sheep, kind of like the white sheep in the black sheep family. She was like an A student, and like she's got the masters, and she's like one of the heads at a university right now, right? But I mean, like for myself, most of my older cousins were, they were kind of, for lack of a better word, a bit like delinquent, and there was drug dealing and all this kind of stuff involved, right? So by the time I got to school, same high school, we all went through the same high school, so same teachers, they were all older than me. So by the time I got there, I was basically, because I wasn't an A student guy, I was basically like written off, like, oh, this guy. Yeah. So definitely, I have one teacher that was pretty awesome to me. And the funny thing is, now that we're adults, his wife is Taiwanese, and when they come to Taiwan, they come to visit. And then when we go back to Canada, we actually go visit them. So that's pretty cool. So definitely, I think that teachers make a really big impact on kids' lives. For me too, as well, when I coach soccer, again, I've been here for a long time. So the kids that I started with way back in the day, they come and see me here now. Like, they invite me to their wedding. They're like 25, and it's really awesome. It's a really cool thing to see that had that kind of impact on their lives. Yeah, it's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, the same. A lot of my kindy students are now adults, and they will
seem naturally to be nice, right? So I think that's less common than one would think, right? Like sometimes, like I've had some crap teachers, I'm not gonna lie.
Sad.
It is, and I've always just kind of been happy to be just nice to everybody. I've had some amazing kids. I've had some kids that are maybe not so good at what we were teaching, but I was always nice to everybody. It's not like, I don't know. I think he's just a kid. Kids are kids. I remember specifically one time when I was coaching soccer, this one kid, he came to class, and it was like Saturday, 2 p.m., and he was just like exhausted, and he was just grumpy and cranky, and I'm like, what's going on with you? And he said, well, Saturday, because I'm like, oh, it's Saturday, you should be, sleeping in, eating cereal, watching cartoons, right? And he's like, no, I have to get up, I can't remember what time, really early, and I got to go to violin, and then I got to go to piano, and then I got to go to, I don't know, whatever, English, and then I come to soccer. And it's like, you had 3 classes before 2 p.m. It's crazy, right? And then he comes to soccer, he loves it. And then after that, he's got something else like Japanese or something crazy, which is like the kids don't like that stuff. And it's crazy. It's a crazy thing, yeah.
It's really tough, but it's also tough. I think it works out like that probably because Monday to Friday they're at school, and then they have their cram school. So you can't, if you want your kid to do soccer class or a swimming class or any of those things, it's always left to the weekend, which leaves you less family time. You've got to decide if you want your kid, or your kid wants to partake in a class, or if you really want to keep that family time free. And you've got to compromise somewhere. It's really tough.
I agree. For me, I think the family time is really important, right? Because even now, like, she's 11, so she's still kind of little. For me, she's little. Not really that little anymore.
She's always going to be your baby.
She's going to be a baby, right? My baby. But yeah, basically, I love it. Like, it's tough, but because I only have one, so everywhere we go, there always needs to be like a second kid. So it was always me, right? So with me and her, we're like running around playing tag in the park and stuff. So it was awesome. I loved it. And so now it's like she's getting a little bit older, but she's still kind of like daddy's girl. We went back to Canada, and some of my friends have little girls her age, and it was crazy because my little girl's like 11, but she feels like an 8 or a 9 year, like she's like a kid. But back home, everyone's wearing makeup, and everyone's like, they're trying to get piercings and tattoos and all this stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, it's crazy. Like my daughter, she's zero interest in makeup and zero interest in any of that stuff, which is, I thought it was pretty cool. So, but it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. Some of these other little girls were, same age as her, but look 14 because they're just makeup, and it was weird. It was a weird thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was 12, I was doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Like my mum did not know where I was.
Exactly.
I wasn't coming home.
I remember those days too. Yeah. So I'm always kind of like.
That's only a year away. So.
I know.
But that's the difference in living in Taiwan.
Yeah, I think people are a little bit more. The kids are a little bit more, like naive and a little like more like kids, which is good because, I don't want my daughter sneaking out. Yeah, I mean, eventually she will probably, but hopefully not when she's 11. It's kind of crazy.
When she's 23.
When she's 23. Yeah, no, I mean, she can grow up. She can do her thing. The one thing that I do make her do is she goes to jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. So she's been doing that for a few years. She's pretty decent at that. So that's good. So, my sister told me, eventually your daughter's going to grow up and she's going to be really good looking and everyone's going to be staring at her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but by that time she should, have like a black belt or something. So I don't have to worry too much. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah. For the
make
black
sure
belt.
she can protect herself.
Make sure she has her like decent belt or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
It's important.
So what about, was there any like culture shock when you came from the UK to Taiwan?
Loads.
Yeah.
There were loads.
Tell me a little bit about that. Yeah.
Everything just not being able to understand anything.
Yeah.
It being so much harder to make friends and to fit in. I think also not being seen as attractive anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
When I came here, I was only 22.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm not I'm not big-headed. I'm not hottie in
No.
the UK
No.
either.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay.
But I went from being a 22-year-old girl who used to like going out on the weekends and enjoyed a little bit of attention to coming to Taiwan. And back then there weren't so many foreigners, especially in Taoyuan.
Okay.
And the guys were just nervous around me.
That makes sense. I never even thought about that. I mean, for me, my first couple years I was here, I lived in a school dorm. And in my second year, these two girls from Manchester, they came. And one of them was like super blonde. And like, for me, as a foreigner here, like way back, there was not very many. Everywhere we'd go, everywhere I'd go, there'd be like people would, come and teach my kid. Just offering you jobs and offering you whatever. And everybody was just like, hey, give me your phone number. Here, I want your phone number for my daughter. Like craziness. And then I started to hang around with these two British girls. One was, they're both gorgeous. One was like really, really blonde, right? And everywhere we went, it went from everybody wanting to take a picture with me to like them shoving a camera in my face saying, take a picture of me and her. So it was like, whoa, what about me? You don't care about me anymore? They're just like, no, you look like Chinese-ish. So it was kind of funny, yeah.
In comparison. But yeah, so you get that like for like maybe from elderly people or that think you're cute, or from like mums that want you to teach their little girls.
Yeah.
But from guys, no. Guys are just like, you sit down at the bar stool next to them and they'll get up and sit on the other end of the bar, and it's
really?
like...
Oh my gosh.
Going home alone again tonight then.
Oh, I never even thought about that. Mama Lucy. All
That's
right.
because you're a guy in Taiwan.
All right. I never even thought about that. Yeah. To be honest, definitely, like for me, like especially now, Like I've been here for 20 years, and then I went, when I was in Canada, I was very quiet, very shy, and nobody thought that I would, come here because I was just super introverted, super quiet, super shy. And then when I came here, I had to really step out of that because you're not going to meet anybody like that, first of all. And second of all, it's just like you get so much attention, you're just kind of like overwhelmed. It's a weird thing. It's very weird. It was like almost like the opposite. Like you were saying, like in Canada, it's like, yeah, you did okay, but there's black dudes and there's Greek dudes and there's all these other guys who are like, good-looking guys everywhere, right? And so I'm not saying there's none here, but I'm just saying that when I was there, it's just like super high competition everywhere you go. And then when you come here, it was just like, it was almost the opposite. It was overwhelming. It was crazy.
Out.
It was crazy. Yeah. And this was 20 years ago. It was crazy. Yeah. I mean, that was before all the craziness of like Tinder and all that stuff. I mean, I have some friends that are still single and they're all over those apps. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
And I think the same for weight. Like when I came here, I am not a small girl. I know that. I've got some thighs on me, but in the UK, compared to the girls in Taiwan, compared to the UK, I came here and suddenly I felt like I was huge. Like I felt like humongous. I know exactly what you mean because as well, like here, like again, I was in like really good shape before. And then, the older you get a little bit fatter, right? Like I'm definitely, I just came back from Canada, and every time I go back, it's like 5-10 kilos, just pure fat. Because the food is huge, and you just pig out because you don't know when you're going back. And so, yeah, like here, the fat shaming is real. Like, so here, people will just be like, oh, you look fat, huh? And you're just like, whoa. So you totally get used to it, but it's definitely different. Like back home, it's the opposite. Somebody could be a lot bigger, and you don't say anything, you can't say anything. So again, I think there's probably somewhere in the middle that's right. You know what I mean? Same as education, because you don't want your friend to get like super unhealthily overweight, but over there you can't say anything. And here it's like you put on 5 pounds and they're like, hey, fatso, like what's up? And you're like, what? Okay, it's crazy. Like I said, when I first came here, I was really young. So, of course, when you're younger, your self-esteem gets knocked quite quickly. And my coworker was like, I showed my brother your photo. And he said, your face is okay, but it's a shame about your body. And I was like,
oh, my gosh.
Thanks for that. I'll take it. But it is what it is. And I know that I definitely need to be healthier. But
you look great. I mean, you have 2 kids. Come on, what are you talking about?
But in the UK, like if I get on the plane in Taiwan, I'm the biggest person on the plane.
Me too.
And then we swap, like there'll be a transfer somewhere and I get on the next leg to the UK and I'm like... You're
the thinnest person on the plane.
Check me out.
No, I get it.
I just lost like 10 kg in the last 5 seconds.
Exactly. No, the same thing for me too. When I go back, it's weird, the fat shaming and all. I don't know. It's kind of it's an unreal. It's a hard thing to describe for people that haven't gone through that. But yeah, definitely. When I go back home, I've definitely I mean, I'm not even right now. I'm in like super out of shape, so I'll slowly take a few months to get back. But yeah, no, it's a rough one for sure.
Yeah, you're okay.
Fat shaming is real here.
Fat
shaming is real in Taiwan. Yeah,
it is,
and it does help a little bit.
Keeps us in check.
It keeps us in check, yeah, for sure. People are like, hey, fatso. Okay. One of my wife's cousins, who is actually, not that thin, I hadn't seen them for a long time. And then there was one time I went to a family event, and she also said, she's like, hey, oh, you变胖, oh, you got fatter. And then I was like, oh, yeah, you too. And then everyone looks at me like, oh, how could you say that to her? And I'm like, she just fucking said it to me. What are you talking about? Like, what? Don't say that if you can't, And it was not like I'm trying to be rude. I'm like, you too, kind of half joking, but I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. Don't dish it out if you can't take it, I guess, right?
Yeah. When I joined my husband's family, his little cousin, and she is adorable. Well, she's an
Gotcha.
adult now, but she's adorable.
Uh-huh.
And they'd call her Pang Mei Mei,
Okay.
right? Which is
Yeah.
very common here.
Yeah. Hey,
And I'll be
Pangzi,
like,
hey, Pangzi. Yeah.
Pang Mei Mei, are you calling her like
Like fat
fat
little girl.
sister?
Fat,
And they were
fatty.
like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh no, we're going to put a stop to that today. And they were like, oh why? It's like
What?
endearing.
She is fat.
And I was like, it's not endearing. Like,
Yeah.
she's gorgeous. Call her Ka'ai Mei Mei. Call her whatever. Just find a positive thing to.
Yeah. Give her that.
name.
Give her that. Give her that. That confidence, right? Yeah. Because
Yeah.
definitely, if you're like, hey, someone calls you, your family calls you fatso forever. I mean, as soon as you get older, that's tough. It's like buried in there, and you're just, yeah. No, I totally get that.
Yeah, my nickname growing up was Ugly.
Oh
And
my.
My,
What?
if my
You're
sisters
not-
are watching this,
Okay,
I
let's-
remember.
There you go. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Wow. That's
And it sticks with you.
well. Geez. Well. So what did we learn? Definitely don't call your kids fat or ugly, and just be nice. Just be nice to the kids. Yeah.
For sure.
So teaching here. Do you ever have like a situation where, you know, a kid is going to be like, hey, you know, Xiao Hei, you know, like darky or fatso or whatever, where somebody calls another kid something like that, and how would you deal with sort of a situation like that?
I just kind of remind them.
Yeah.
I just kind of remind them to be kind, and quite often I'll remind them that
Sorry,
it
it's
is. Quite often I'll just remind them that everyone's different.
okay.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
their skin is darker than mine. It doesn't make one of us better than the other.
Yep. Agree.
Right? We're all sat there with different characteristics, and we're all special for it. And it's something that I think probably it hits me a little harder because of my children, and my children definitely look Taiwanese.
Okay. They look more Taiwanese, or
They
they
look
don't?
more Taiwanese.
Okay. Okay.
But I think they're always going to feel like they're a little bit different. Right?
Oh, for sure.
So,
For sure. For sure.
so I'm always reminding my children, my students, that everybody is different. That I'd love to have a nice tan if I could get one.
No, my daughter also looks more Taiwanese.
Mm-hmm.
So when she was younger and I would go pick her up from school, and she grew up in local school, so her Chinese is perfect, right? And then, you know, I'd go to pick her up, and people would just, what? Is that your dad? They're like, what? They're just kind of shocked because this little girl who looks kind of like a light-skinned, but like still very Taiwanese, they're just shocked, like, who? What? That's your dad? Like, what's going on? And yeah, so I know it's crazy. It's a crazy system. Luckily, we're not in like Japan, where they'll never be accepted, apparently.
Oh, is that the case?
Apparently in Japan, you can be like born and raised there, and if you're not like 100% both parents Japanese, born and raised in Japan, then you're not Japanese ever. Because I have some friends that went through that, and you could even like Google it on YouTube, and there'll be like all these people that are like, yeah, born and raised here, never left the island, but because I'm half, I'll never be accepted. It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy. I feel like that's
Yeah.
how my son feels.
Okay.
That's how he feels. If we walk to school, he doesn't walk with me.
Really?
No, because he doesn't want people to know that I'm his mum, because it makes him feel different.
You got to move to Tianmu. Everybody's mixed kids here. Tianmu is like mixed kids central. So like my daughter goes to school and there's like a bunch of mixed kids there, and it's just like, and it's like so normal. So maybe I don't. Would you say you guys are in Linko or Taoyuan? Or?
Taoyuan.
Taoyuan. Okay.
And
okay.
he is the only mixed kid at his school. When I do the school drop off, like
Okay.
until I looked at it through his eyes, and I was like, oh yeah, and I am the one white person doing this route. I can see. I stand out. I don't see it.
Oh, of
I don't
course.
see it. But I guess like other people coming the other way, they're seeing this big difference, and so I think that is tough for him. And I can hear him say it when people are like, "Oh, 他是外国人," and he will say, he'll be like, 我不是外国人,我是台湾人,我妈妈是外国人.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh!
And I'm
okay.
like, oh, you tell him, babe.
Oh wow! Okay, that's. My daughter also feels like Wygoran. She feels Canadian. Like she's only been to Canada like twice in her life, but she felt really Canadian. And this time we went, she enjoyed it, but she's kind of like, similar to me, like my family's Mexican, but you live in Canada, and when you go to, we would go to Mexico, in Mexico, all the Mexicans see you as a Canadian. And then when you're in Canada, it's like, well, you're a Mexican Canadian, you're kind of Canadian. And then you come here and you're just a white guy, right? And you're just some white guy. Oh, you're an American white guy. I'm like, well, not really, but okay, you sound American. Like, well, I'm Canadian. I don't know it's not much different, but it is what it is. So I don't know. I've accepted it. I don't really care. But yeah, my daughter definitely, maybe because this area, there's so many like foreigners and there's so many mixed kids and stuff. So you gotta come on, move down to Tianmu. Yeah.
When I win the lottery.
Yeah, it's Tianmu is So we started in Danshui, which is also a good spot. We slowly moved out this way because this was the best for our business to be in this area. Tianmu has been pretty awesome to us. So now we're really like involved in the community and the American school and European school and all that. So it's been really good for us. But yeah, definitely, it's rent is crazy, and it's like, for example, we were living in Danshui, right, paying $9,000 a month for our like little suite when my daughter was born, and eventually, we were out here and we're pushing my daughter in the stroller, and asked my wife, we should move out here, blah blah blah. So by the Carrefour, by the MRT, there's a kind of like a newish building. It's pretty nice, right? And my wife's like, well, let's go see if they've got anything available. And I said, this here is going to be crazy. And she's like, well, let's ask. So I said, hey, how's it going to the security guard? Do you guys have anything available? And he's like, yeah, we have available. So we go in. It's a 3-bedroom. It's pretty nice. It's way nicer than what I have now. 3-bedroom, like everything's like, there's like a walk-in closet and stuff. It was nice. It was really nice.
Fancy.
Very nice. But
you've made it when you've got a walk-in closet.
Exactly. It's nice. It's very nice. But I'm like, okay, how much? You want to guess? You guess. Hopefully you haven't seen. I've told this story a few times, but guess. It's a 3-bedroom apartment in Tianmu.
3-bedroom apartment in Tianmu.
I'm paying
I'm
9 in
seriously.
Danshui. I'm paying 9 in Danshui. It's a 3-bedroom, newish, pretty nice.
35?
Nope. Way more than that.
50.
Way more than that. I'll give you one more. Just like exaggerate it.
80.
180.
180.
180,000. 100, and I'm like, 18万. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, 8万, like 80? And he's like, no. 18万. I'm like, did he say 108? That's more than this restaurant. It's crazy. So I was like, my daughter was walking around touching stuff. I said, don't touch anything. We're leaving. This is crazy. He's like, what do you guys pay now? And I said, well, we live in Danshui, so. He's like, what do you pay? I said, 9.
Did he laugh?
And he's like, 90? I'm like, no, 9. And he's like, all right, have a nice day. It's crazy. And I found out because this area, for example, the American school, if somebody like a big company like Intel, something like that, or like one of the big American companies that have to do something out here, they need to move a family out here, like an American family. They put them in the American school, and the company will cover it all. And then, so the people around here, they know that. So there are certain places where it's ridiculous. Right now, I pay 36 for a 3-bedroom, and that's already like, it's already too much. It's already too much. Yeah, it's already very high. But it's 10-minute walk from here, across the street from my daughter's school. We're late every day anyway, but that's a whole other story. We don't have a car, so I have a scooter, but we can just walk. But there are places. It's funny because there's 2 kinds of people when I tell that story, right? How can I say, like, most people, let's say most people, they're like, holy crap, 180,000, that's crazy. And then people that live in this area, they'd be like, yeah, we pay about that. And I'm just, you pay that. One of my buddies up the street here, to be fair, he's got like a house, but he pays 200. It's more than my restaurant. It's crazy. It's crazy.
The dream.
The dream. I mean, it's not as if it's super nice either. It's just location. Yeah, so we used to live in a place that was 25, but across the hall there was like a psycho, like a legit crazy psycho. We had to call the cops, and like many times, and he was getting very close to getting physical, and I'm like, we gotta move or else
Yeah, it's just not
he's
safe
gonna
for
hurt
a
you or I'm
family.
gonna hurt this guy, and then who's gonna get in trouble for hurting me, right? So I said, we even called the cops, and the cops said, you know what, you should just move. They own it. He lives with his parents. He's a nut. You should just move. So we did.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, but it was good. It was a nice little spot. So teaching here in the beginning, how was your feeling, right? So you come in, you're teaching. It was kind of your first experience for teaching, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me how you were feeling at the time. You're single, you're 22. But we'll talk a little bit more about this, and then we will start talking about YouTube, if that's cool. Yeah?
Sure.
I'd love that.
At first, like I said, I always wanted to be a teacher, so it was the dream. For me,
Dream
it was
job.
the dream.
Love it.
But I think I quickly realized that there's a lot of BS in going on.
That's an understatement of the year, but let's keep going.
And there was a real lack of education, so
Yes.
I slowly filtered through the schools and figured out what, like, without upsetting anyone, I loved
Sure.
all of my co-teachers. I loved most of the schools that I worked at. Like, I never had any, I never left
Okay.
on bad terms with anyone. I think any school would take me back. Oh my goodness, my head is just growing here.
No, that's what it's about. Yeah. No, great, because you're a good teacher. So yeah.
Yeah, and I loved it. And
Short supply.
I
Short supply.
kept good relationships with
Never
all of
burn
my
bridges.
co-teachers and stuff.
Beautiful.
But I'm glad to be doing my own thing now. I'm glad to be able to limit my numbers and teach what I think is important
I
and
love
go that way. But I loved it. I loved being here. I loved being here when I was young. I fell in love with Taiwan so quickly, with everything about it, with the people, with the environment, with the noises and the smells and the hustle and bustle for a 22-year-old coming from the
Yeah.
Isle of Wight that is so quiet and quaint and quite frankly boring when you're 22,
I know
to
it.
coming here and having everything just being so like just out of this world. Like I felt
agree.
like everything. I would see people washing their clothes outside and be like, oh my God, what are they doing? I've never seen that. I would see 24-hour fruit shops and be like, who is buying their fruit at 3 a.m.?
Bananas at 3 a.m.
What
Let's
is
go.
going on? And like the bars that never seemed to close, that people were having
All you can drink for like 500 NT. Do you remember those days? Yeah.
go to women's night. You didn't even have to pay. It was
Perfect,
fantastic. But like, and then the guys were having, in the UK, guys don't even dance. You might get the sidestep.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
a little grind if you're unlucky. But in Taiwan, the guys were having like full-on dance-offs. Like they were break dancing in the middle of the clubs, and I loved all of it. I loved it all. I fell in love with Taiwan so fast.
I love
and
it.
I knew I was going to stay.
I love that.
I knew it.
Just let me touch quickly on the guys dancing. So I have obviously some Taiwanese male friends as well, and I remember, like in Canada, again somewhere in the middle, the guys will dance, but it's not like no one's really. It's the similar like a sidestep sort of deal. And then me being Mexican, I would go a little bit more than that, right? But here, like you would have your male Taiwanese friends, they'd be like, oh, there's girls out there, let's go, talk to them. And I'm like, let's go. So I'm just gonna walk out there. But their way is the two guys will start dancing, and then I'm dancing with dudes, right? For the first time, and I'm just like, what's happening here? Like I'm dancing with dudes, kind of like, okay, this is weird. And then slowly we kind of make our way over there, and then we start talking to these girls. So that's the way, like guys are dancing with guys, and like totally straight guys. And I'm just like, okay, interesting. So yeah, that was a big shock for me, because the West, and especially like Mexicans, it's super macho, right? So then like dudes, they're not gonna dance with dudes, but you come here and dudes are dancing together, and even straight guys who just did not want to meet women, they're just kind of hanging out, let's go dance. And it's like dudes are dancing with dudes. And I thought, oh my gosh. But it was, yeah, I mean, shoot, I'm still here, right? It was great. It was all right, yeah.
There's a little part of me, I'm listening to your story, but I'm also thinking like,
Reminiscing.
you go the extra mile, now I want to see some moves.
Yeah, oh no, my gosh, I don't know about that. I'm retired, you know. So yeah, definitely. You were saying that now you've sort of like segued into your own thing, right? So tell me about your own thing. What's your own thing?
So what is my own
Your own thing? I mean, now you're teaching, right? So you were teaching with some of the big schools, I guess. We all started like a Hess or something, right? And then now you're doing your own thing. So tell me a bit about that.
So now I have some small classes and I homeschool students
Beautiful.
that just want they want something different from the mainstream education.
Amazing.
They want real life scenarios, and I love it. I love the fact that I get some one-on-one time with the kids and get to really know them. And I've started this online platform.
I love that. Tell me about that.
Well, I think because there's just not enough time in the day, and I would love to teach more people if possible, but without having bigger classes and without taking more time away from my family.
Yeah.
I've got to find a way to reach more people and help more people in a different way. And so I started pre-recording classes, and I opened a website.
Beautiful.
Set up a website, and
I will give me that, and I will link it in the description below. But I don't want to cut you off. Keep going.
Sure. And so the first one is just the first class I put out is like a basic English level, but it is all English.
Yes.
So you'll find that there are lots of platforms out there that are
They teach it in Chinese, right?
yes, they'll teach English in Chinese, which I'm not against at all. It's just a different style of teaching, or you don't know what teacher you're going to get in reality.
True.
So the whole class is me teaching. It does have Chinese subtitles, but you can choose if you want to turn them on or not.
Wow.
And so you can have the full English experience, or you can put on your subtitles if there's something that you don't understand, and everything is translated.
Wow.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So I worked really hard on that. It's like
How long have you been doing this?
I started it a year or two ago,
Okay.
and I've only actually got one big bulk class. It's like 100 and something lessons
Okay.
in one.
Awesome. Okay.
And I'm working on the next one, which will be a slightly higher level and cover different things. And I've done some of the recording in the UK so that I
Wow.
could like vlog and show people real situations.
Love it.
And and I am just really excited to get that done. So hopefully that will be out by the end of this year. And then I've just got so many ideas. I see people coming with questions all the time, and there are so many things to share. And I'm really excited about it, because I think even many adults, they learn English at school, and they focused on grammar, and they focused
vocabulary and study the dictionary tonight.
and writing, but they didn't get those experiences.
Agree.
Actually conversing
Agree.
and listening and being able to reply naturally.
Yep.
You'll find that lots of people will use, and I'm not against it, but they'll use like really advanced vocabulary that we don't tend to use on a daily basis. It's like, hey guys, I'm not interviewing you. You can
just chat.
You can chat, but they only know
That's what they know.
the advanced vocabulary. And so they're missing just the basics. And so I want to fill in those gaps and help as many people as possible.
I love that. That's amazing. Because also they will learn some vocabulary, and it could be really old vocabulary that people don't use anymore. I remember I was dating this girl, and I went to pick her up from her job once, and she was also an English teacher, a Taiwanese English teacher, and I can't remember who it was, one of her coworkers. So, and I was just there. I had I was in my early 20s. I had like a motorbike and like a leather jacket on, right? and they're like, oh, he looks like a rascal. And I'm just like, oh, they said you look like a rascal. I'm like, first of all, I haven't heard that word in like 30 years. In my lifetime, I don't think anyone's ever said rascal. But, you know, it's just an old term that still is correct, but just something that's so old and just like, it's weird.
It's something that only your grandparents would say.
Exactly. Yeah, like a grandparent word. You're just like, oh, rascal. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, just little things like that for sure. And I've also found that Taiwanese people, they all learn English and they from a young age, and it's kind of buried in there, but they don't have a chance to use it. So it's like locked in a chest, right? It's like locked in a chest where, yeah, got some fans out there. Yeah.
I'll wave.
So it's like it's locked up, and it's really hard to get that out. It can come out, but yeah, in conversations, it's just people just get so nervous and scared, and they stop talking.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's in there.
It's in there for sure.
And
for sure.
I think I also struggle learning languages. You're saying that you speak Spanish and
because my family's Mexican, right? So my mom couldn't speak English when I was a kid, so I spoke Spanish at home. It definitely helps when I learn. I mean, in theory, it helps because I think your brain is kind of used to more than one language. But as for the actual Chinese language, it didn't help at all because it's so much harder than Spanish. It's crazy.
So much harder.
It's way harder. Yeah.
Like, for me, my biggest problem learning a language is my confidence.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
Some people, they have it, they'll go out there and they'll just try and wing it, and if they make
Yeah.
a mistake, they're fine with that. But if I make a mistake, I'm kicking myself for days. And so
Yeah. That's normal, I think. Yeah.
that's something I really love to get out of people, to
Yeah.
help them to kind of get over that hurdle,
Agreed. Yeah.
the fear of making a mistake, because even if you make a mistake, the chances are you're understood. And that's
sure.
what language is for. A language is to converse. A
Agreed.
language is there so that we can make friends and get what we need, and
Yeah.
it is a way to communicate. So
Yes.
if you are communicating what you need, and you are building relationships, and you are being heard, then you're not doing a bad job. If you didn't say it in past tense, but you added the date in there, you've got the message across.
I agree.
And I'm not saying that grammar isn't important. I know that it's the stereotype that foreigners don't teach grammar well, but I'm not saying it isn't important. I'm saying that being understood
Yeah.
and having fun and enjoying your life is like number one,
That's number one.
right? And if
Yeah.
you're stressing about your mistakes, and if you're not trying and not meeting new people and not participating in conversations that you're interested in, or
Yeah.
activities because of those fears, then you're not living your life to the fullest, right?
I love that. That's beautiful. Yes. I'm going to make a clip of that. That's a good one. No, so I agree 100%. Yeah, definitely with this language, it was definitely a lot tougher. It was definitely a lot tougher than Spanish. But yeah, so we got a couple best
My
teachers. Your students are on.
messaging. Hi,
She's
Della.
a good teacher. Yeah?
I love you.
Yes. Awesome. Don't forget to subscribe to her channel. We're going to talk about your channel right now. How about that? Because
Hey.
let's transition. You've got your online thing, right? And you've got
Yep.
your classes, and you've got your students, and you're able to give personal attention, which is awesome, and that's what you wanted.
Yep.
And now, but you're actually, how does that connect to your YouTube channel?
So my YouTube channel, I actually started it. I started back in COVID time, just
Okay.
reading to my students. When
Ooh.
COVID came around and my classes stopped,
Yeah.
I was so worried that my students were going to forget
Okay.
their English, and they're not going to have a chance to practice because I wasn't teaching with the school, I was teaching them independently.
Yep.
And so many of them wouldn't get any input otherwise.
Sure.
And so I started teaching them just like reading books online and just giving them
I love that.
something to do.
Amazing.
And I know there was loads of people out there doing it, but these are Taiwanese kids. They knew me. They were familiar with me. And so I thought it would be a little less daunting for them, a little bit more exciting as
sure,
well.
because
to
they
see
know the
their
person.
teacher
Yeah. Yep.
online. So I started doing that, and my son really wanted to do it with me.
Beautiful.
So Caleb was like, "Oh, can I sit next to you and we'll
The
read
oldest-
together?"
the older one?
Yeah,
Okay.
the older one. But he was a nightmare.
Okay.
I
That's
love
funny.
him so
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
but he could see himself in the camera.
He was just
and
like-
he's just like, "Bleh, bleh, ah."
Yeah.
And I was like, these kids are not looking at the book. They're not listening to me. They're just seeing this little rascal next to me.
Yes.
And but he was having the time of his life, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want him to feel excluded.
It's tough. That's a tough call for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but
it's your kid. Yeah. But
and
it's
I
your
really
gig.
want him to enjoy it. But at the same time, I'm trying to help lots of people, and I can read to him all day. We were in like semi-lockdown, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
he was definitely getting read to.
Okay.
So when he went to bed at night, I would set up the camera and start recording.
Beauty.
And he looked out of his bedroom window one night, and he was like, "You're doing it without me."
That's awesome.
And he was so upset that he had been left out that after a little while, my husband talked to me and was like, "Well, if he really wants to do it,
Yeah.
why don't you do something with him?"
Need a separate channel or something, maybe?
Yeah, so we opened my separate channel, my Mama Lucy channel, and
Okay.
we just did little short clips, just 2 minutes, 3 minutes of me teaching him some.
So the Mama Lucy is the separate channel. Oh,
It's the
wow.
separate channel. Yeah,
Okay.
the first one, it's only got maybe 20 views. It was just my students.
Okay.
It wasn't anything I was advertising.
Wow.
Or,
Okay.
So I just did it with Caleb, and the two of us just sat on the sofa, and I taught him some English slang.
Okay.
Or things that I knew we weren't going to be able to go back to the UK for a while, but I
Yeah.
wanted him to still be up to date with the lingo. And
Okay.
also,
YouTube is good for that.
yeah, it was really fun, and it was fun doing it with him and seeing his personality shine, like seeing his confidence in front of the camera
Beautiful.
compared to when he's at school and stuff.
Okay.
It's so different, and we had a blast doing it. But then one day, we went camping on the weekend, and he was like, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do it this week." And I was like, "He doesn't want to do it. We're not doing it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not forcing
Of course,
him
you're not
to
going to
do
force your
it.
kids.
Goodness
yeah.
gracious.
Yeah.
And
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious. But my
Love it.
husband was like, he's very committed. If he's agreed to do something, we're doing it.
Your husband.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So he was like, "Well, he doesn't have to do it, but then
You
you
do."
do." Right? Like,
I love it.
and I was like, "Me?
Yeah.
By myself?" And I was like, I can't do it by myself. What am I going to talk about? What am I, like, I was happily hiding behind him.
understand.
It was his thing, not my thing. Like, I never planned to be a YouTuber. People
Gotcha.
had invited me before, and I was just like, I am not that person. I'm not the big, bright, bubbly, like, look at me kind of person. I'm happily in the corner. And so he poured
Wow.
me a G&T and set up the camera.
G&T.
And I may have been a little tipsy on the first video by myself, if I'm going to
Okay.
be honest.
Okay. Beautiful.
And I just talked to the camera, and it wasn't like crazy views, but I remember when it hit like 1,000 views, and I was like,
That's great.
oh my God, 1,000 people watched me. And my husband was like, "See, you can do it." And he just like continuously pushed me and encouraged me and gave me that. And since doing it, I've just had the best time. Like, I love doing YouTube.
Yeah,
I love it.
that's great.
And it's so far out of my comfort zone. Like I said, I never would have opted to do it if I hadn't fallen into it.
Okay.
But I love doing YouTube. I love all the experiences I've had in Taiwan since I've started doing YouTube
Yeah.
that maybe I wouldn't have signed up for if it wasn't for the channel. That I'm
100%.
like, yeah, I should. And I'm learning things about Taiwan,
Yeah.
right? Because before I would just see things and be like, "Oh, that's odd," and walk away. And then suddenly I'm like, "Oh, why is that odd? Like, what are they doing? Like, why haven't I ever questioned these things
Yeah.
before? And I'm seeing things in at a different angle, and I just love it. I love the places that I've been and the people that I've met. Like, you look at Amy.
Yeah, I got pictures.
up
I'll pull
there,
some pictures up in a sec
it's
here.
just it's been a blast.
It's amazing.
And I know it's not a huge channel. I know it's not like up there, but it's so much fun. And while it continues to be fun, I'll continue to
I love it.
make videos.
Beautiful.
Sorry, I was too excited.
It's all good.
there.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Oop, what does that
Imagine.
say? All good. No problem. No problem. It's still live. It's still live. I'll click that off later. Yeah, no, I think so let's go through some pictures. Yeah.
What are these pictures?
I got some pictures
Okay.
that we can pull up here. And you tell me
Dun,
about them,
dun,
right?
dun.
So the beginning is obviously your logo.
And that's me. That's the way I look at most things.
I'll just get rid of that. Boop. Okay, that's okay. We're still good. So that's the logo. Yeah. No, I love the picture, so I had to do that. Yeah. So we'll keep going. Sorry, this is the logo. Yes.
Yeah, this one.
So tell me a little bit about the behind the logo.
Oh my goodness, it took me so long to find a logo that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
We went through so many things and I was like, oh, maybe I can have it like this. And now it looks like
Yeah.
it looks like a spa.
Okay. I
It
think
looks
it's
like
great. I love it.
this or that. And so finding something that,
It's okay. Keep going. We're good.
It's
We're good.
okay?
Yeah, we're good. That's just something.
finding something that pushed what I'm doing, like my name and what I'm doing. So
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, but I think it's very similar to some other people's, and that wasn't my intention. But
Oh,
I
really?
didn't pay attention to.
Just do your own
I didn't
thing.
pay attention to other people.
I know that's totally
I was
cool.
very busy at the time.
I had somebody saying that they love your accent. Your accent is awesome. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It sounds very elegant. Yes, it does, for sure. And of course, we've got Amy. So happy to have met you through YouTube. Amy's so sweet, man. I love Amy.
Oh, could she be any more lovable?
Exactly, right?
Oh.
Amy's amazing. Let's keep going, yeah?
Sure.
So we got I pulled that out. That's it. Tell me about this.
Yay. That was the class I said that I first started,
Mm-hmm.
when I first started my own little class, and that was my friend. My friend got me into that.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, oh, should we do a class together for our own kids? And
Beautiful.
I was like, well, if we're going to teach our own kids, why not? Why not invite other children and other parents to enjoy it? So it's like a little mummy and me club.
Love it. Love it.
And it's nothing formal. It's just fun for the kids and
Beautiful.
fun for the parents. And I have kept that going for some
love
of those
that.
students are still with me now. They're still with me now. I see. Yeah, they're
so
still
beautiful.
I just came from there.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
that's Mama Goose English. I love the
And
name.
you
That's a
can
beauty.
see that was years ago. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, that must
So
have been
cool.
like 3 or 4 years ago, and they're still.
They're still, well, that's the sign of a good teacher, right? Beautiful, beautiful.
They look like babies there.
For sure. Let's keep going. Boom. So it looks like you're putting together some kind of like a, well, you tell me.
What am I putting together? That was during COVID time, and we were just at home and we were bored, and so every few days we would find something to entertain
I love that.
us and the children, and so we'd go through themes, and everybody had like 20 minutes to read their wardrobes and put something together in
it.
that color, and
So
we
cute.
all like came back to the
That
sofa.
looks like a TV show. Like it could be like, one of those kids shows. It's like, hey guys, I don't, that's what it looks like, and it could be one. It
Oh,
could be
we had so much fun, and I was
Beautiful.
so glad that my wigs were getting some use.
That's beautiful. I love it. So keep going.
Yeah, this is
So
This
you're
is-
making worksheets or
yeah. Every week I make my own worksheets that
Amazing.
I put out to my kids.
Beautiful,
that are
beautiful.
just simple and fun
Mm-hmm.
and optional.
Okay.
So there's no punishment if they don't do it.
But do most do it? Or?
It's like 50-50.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always like, oh, does anyone really do these worksheets? But if I don't put it out, somebody will send me a message and be like,
What
my
happened?
kid is really upset they didn't get a worksheet.
That's
And I'm
funny.
like, okay, I'm sorry. I was just checking, just seeing if I still needed to do this.
That's so funny.
And it turns out that I do. But some of these are just downloaded. Some of them are
love that.
mine. But I love creating themes for my boys
Yeah.
and finding different ways to teach them through books
Yeah,
and worksheets.
I love
and
that.
Like, what's it called? Field trips and everything.
That's the best. Yeah,
Oh,
field trips are awesome. Whenever my daughter has like a class field trip, they asking for like volunteer parents. I'm in. I'm like, I'm in for sure.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't care about the restaurant. I don't have to go today. I'm going in. Yeah, so it's fun because it's me and moms. It's all moms, and it's like me there, like the one foreign guy is like a dad, and she's like, hey, let's go. Give me a group of 5 kids. I'll take care of them. So it's awesome. I love that.
It's great seeing them in a different environment.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Speaking of Amy, of course, we have Amy, lovely, lovely Amy, that you met through YouTube, right?
That I
You
met
wouldn't have?
through YouTube.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, it took me like weeks to message her because
Yes.
I was so nervous. I was like, oh, I don't know any YouTubers.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wasn't in the crowd.
They're
I
such
didn't.
a cool group of people too. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I just messaged Amy and I was like, look, I'm putting a video out this week and you have already made a video that is related to the theme. So do you mind if I tagged you in it? And she was like, oh my goodness, the message I got couldn't have been more welcoming.
Oh, I bet. She's so
she was
sweet.
just like, oh, welcome to the YouTube world. Like, we're one big family. And I was like, oh, like she doesn't see. I've learned so much from Amy, not
Yeah.
just in YouTube, but in life. And
Amy's
she's
amazing.
just such a wonderful person that I think just being in her company, being her friend, makes me a better person.
Oh my gosh!
Like-
Wow! Wow! Amy,
Like,
you gotta say something. That's
no,
amazing.
it's true.
Yeah.
It really is true. Like she doesn't see anybody as competition. She sees everybody as their own person, as their own character, bringing the best of themselves forward.
Amazing.
And I just love that.
Beautiful.
I love what she's doing. So
Wow, Amy. Whoa, awesome. So you're talking about, just a quick one, new at YouTube, you met Amy, and you're saying you were not in the club, and then
I'm in the club.
you're in the club, which is like, these are some of the, like,
I'm in a club.
Coup is like the biggest. And you're, tell me about this one.
I'm in a. I've been edited into a picture with Koo. That's what's happened here.
Okay. But it's like, I've never met Coup. Like, that's awesome. I'm not edited into his pictures.
Again, I've met Koo through Amy.
Okay.
Like, Amy introduced me to Fifi and was like, oh, Fifi's making a video. She'd love you to be in it. And I'm sure that was Amy saying, Fifi, you really want Lucy to be in your video, okay?
Yep. That's so cool.
And so I met Fifi, who is an absolute sweetheart also.
Yep.
And met Koo at Amy's restaurant, and Lauren too.
Yep.
We've been out for a couple of meals together.
Beauty.
And
I'm just checking this quick. Keep going. You're good. Yeah, we're good.
but they're all just really great people.
Yep.
And very supportive and
Yes.
deserve support in return. And
Agreed.
so
I met Amy and you. I haven't met the other guys yet, but I met like Lucas and Prazi and Alan. And like, it's a pretty awesome crew. Like, yeah. And everybody's so friendly. They're like, yeah, I'll do the podcast. And I'm like, really? Okay, cool. That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
really cool crew. I love it.
I think you expect people that you see on the screen not to be approachable, and
For sure.
that's not the case. These are real people who are lovely deep down, and
I love it. And,
Yeah.
then you get them off camera and they're swearing and joking and you're like, oh,
well,
okay.
except Alan's swearing and joking on camera. So.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true. Alan's the first sort of YouTuber that I saw, and then the first one out of all the guys that I met was Lucas, because I was like, I'm going to do a podcast. There's nobody doing a podcast. I'm going to phone. I'm going to interview people, and then I did it for a while, and then I'm looking up. I'm like, oh yeah, nobody else is doing it. And then I see Lucas's channel. I'm like, not only is he already doing it, but he's way better. And I was like, oh, I got to hit this guy up. And then he was totally like, yeah, I'll come and do it. I was like, well, really? That's crazy.
Not
So
better.
cool.
He's doing a different thing, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
doing his own thing too. And
It's amazing. It's
I
amazing.
haven't met Lucas, but I've only heard good things
Super
about
good
him.
guy,
I'm like,
super
one
good.
day I'll bump into him and be
He's a
like,
great
hey,
guy.
I'm a fangirl.
Well, we got to do because I have the restaurant. Once in a while, we'll do like a karaoke night. So the next one, I got to get everybody in. We'll do like a because everybody's like, yeah, karaoke, let's go. And I know you got karaoke skills because you were singing a little bit
Oh
earlier.
yeah,
Yes.
give me a few drinks and
All
I'll
right,
be
for
up
sure.
there.
A couple G&Ts, right? What else do we got?
Only
All
if
right.
you've got Disney hits.
Oh, I've got everything. Come on, it's my job to have everything. Yes, this is you in the park.
That's me in the park. Yeah, just inviting kids to come and read and
Amazing.
enjoy with me. Why
Amazing, amazing. I love it. And I bet you people walking. Well, I used to coach in the park. People walking by, everybody wanted to be a part of it. And I bet you this is even more popular. It's amazing, amazing.
Most of those are not my students. It's just
Okay.
people that were playing in the
Cool.
park that I was just like, come on over, sit on a mat,
Yeah,
enjoy the.
To get a kid to stop playing and then to go and listen to you, that's amazing. That's amazing because as a kid, there would be no way me as a kid that would stop playing in the park to go and listen to a story. So that is pretty impressive.
I'll take the win.
Yes, that's amazing. Congrats on that.
Thank
All right, I
you.
got two more. This is your glasses, right? So tell me let's plug your class a little bit, right? I mean, I know that this is
Yeah.
expired or whatever, but it's just a cool image.
That's my class. My smile looks psychotic there.
No, you look great. No, come on, don't be silly. You look
I
great.
look like I'm about to murder you.
That's awesome. No. All good.
Yeah, that's my class. That's the.
Well, good thing I didn't pick that one then if you don't like it, because I was like, ooh, 50-50, this one or the other one. Yeah.
That's what happens when you let your husband pick the pictures.
Okay.
He's like, that's the face she
Oh, that's
gives me
great.
when she's about to lose her.
I love it.
Yeah, that's my class. That's the pre-recorded class, the one
okay.
that I have
Love it.
up online, and I will definitely send you the
Give me the link
for
and we'll
that.
plug the heck out of it for
And
sure.
like I said, my website only has it's not part of a big
Yeah.
organization.
Yep.
It's not part of something that I don't know. You see so many people doing
There's so
them.
many
and
bad ones out there, though. It's crazy. Yeah.
There are, and so that's why I wanted to create. But loads of great people are also creating,
Oh, sure, for
and
sure. Yeah.
And I'm genuinely like, oh, vote for me, but I'm also like, oh, vote for yourself. Like, vote for what works for you. And I would love my class to be the one to work for you. But right now, I only have one class on the website. Like I
Gotcha.
said, one
Okay.
big package, and so I've got to
Okay.
get more out there so that I can reach people's needs.
Yeah, sure.
And really like just have more variety and help
beautiful.
people in different ways.
I love that. So
Yeah.
cool. You're such a sincere person. I love it. It's just, and your accent obviously tops it off because it's nice. It's a great accent. I mean, people love it apparently, and it sounds great. I got one more, and it's a book that you kind of shared a picture to, and I looked at it and I loved it. It's hilarious.
Don't hug
It's
Doug.
the best name ever. Don't hug Doug. He doesn't like it. It's hilarious.
I love it.
It's great. I love it too. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. So
So-
go ahead.
These days, sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No,
I'm
I'm trying not to interrupt you. You go.
There are just so many great children's books out now.
Okay.
Like when I was younger, I guess you don't always get the message that is hidden within books. And as an adult, as a teacher, I see everything that is being put forward.
Yep.
And so Don't Hug Doug is just a
beautiful.
book, like my son is not a hugger.
Not a hugger, yeah.
One of them is like an extreme hugger and he will hug strangers. And the
Okay.
other one is like, you're my best friend, but stay over there.
Don't touch me. Yeah. I love it.
And I'm a hugger, so I could definitely read this.
Just don't hug
like,
Doug. Don't hug
like
Doug.
every month I should read it and give myself a little reminder that not everybody is a hugger. But yeah, just knowing boundaries and letting kids know their boundaries and letting kids be more aware of each other's boundaries.
I think it's beautiful because for me, growing up as a super introverted person and super shy, super quiet, but also being Mexican and where you get the whole Latin community, everyone's hugging and kissing each other all the time, and I was like, don't touch me, just can say hello. That's about. So when I was really little, I could see it. That's kind of why I think it popped out to me, because it was really cool. It was a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think in the UK, like growing up, people didn't hug so much.
Yeah.
We're more kind of standoffish, like, hi, over there. And
Canada's like that as well, but Mexico is the opposite. It's crazy. It's like Italy, you know. It's like the whole kisses on the cheek, and it's crazy. Yeah.
We used to spend our childhood in France, and so the
so
same. They
about
do
as opposite as it can
the
get.
kisses on the cheek, and I remember being sat there and being like, "Don't kiss me, please don't kiss me."
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. For
whatever
sure.
you do not come and kiss me. But now as an adult, I am embracing everyone. I'm
For
like,
sure. I take all the hugs and all the kisses. I'll take it all.
I think especially after COVID, I'm like, I'm going to hug you for all those months I couldn't hug people.
Just put it under the light. It's okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
So,
So, I mean, man, we could talk all day, but what is the next step for you? Do you have anything you want to, what's the goal? You have the goal with your business, with your channel. What's the next step?
Oh, I wish I knew what the next step was.
Okay, the next goal. Like, what do you want?
The next
out
goal
of it?
is I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm
You're
not.
loving it.
Yeah, I'm just loving it.
Beautiful.
I want to keep teaching and keep helping people, and I would love to get another few classes out on my platform. On my website. That is number one, I need to focus on. So that's number one. And I want to see more of Taiwan.
Gotcha.
And I want to share that with people, because
the vlogging stuff you like, yeah.
I love doing the vlogging. I love the fact that I get to create memories with my children.
Yeah.
And those are keepsakes for me.
Yep.
But also, really, I know lots of people, lots of people don't know about Taiwan. They come to Asia and they skip Taiwan totally.
Yep.
And so even my nephew's coming next week, which I cannot wait for.
Okay.
But I had to confirm with him like 3 or 4 times that he knew where he was coming to.
It's not Thailand, right? Okay.
Yeah, I was like, you do know where you're coming, and I was like, oh, I'm going to take you here, I'm going to take you there, and he was like, Lucy, you don't realize, because you've been there so long, that just walking down the street, I'm going to see and be taking in so much more than you appreciate, because I'm so used to it, and I'm excited to see it from a new perspective again.
Yep.
You know, all those things that wowed me in the beginning and won me over in the beginning. I'm really excited to see somebody else go through that.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I have 2 quick stories on that. So the first thing was when my brother was here visiting. It was a long time ago. He was 18, and my sister. This was my sister. I'll do the brother one after. My sister. We're walking down the street, and we walk by a temple. And I'm just like, walking by, and he's like, well, what's that? I'm like, what? And he's like, that. And she's like that. And I'm like, what? And she's like, that. And I'm like, oh, that's a temple. And she's just like blown away, because she's never seen that before. But I walk by it every day, So definitely, I could definitely feel, I know what you mean. And another time, which actually was my brother, we're walking down the street, and I know that there was this stinky tofu place, right? And like a really stinky one, So you're walking by, and and I'm not telling him. He knows nothing about stinky tofu. I'm not telling him, right? So we walk by, it smells, right? So we're walking down, and he's just kind of like, he's checking his armpit, he's checking his shirt, and then he starts to check his shoes. He's like, and I'm trying not to laugh, because it's hilarious. And then we get like a few more feet down, and he's just like, what's that smell? And I'm like, oh, that's stinky tofu. And he's just like, oh, I thought I stepped in something. It was so funny, because he was just shocked. Like, he didn't know what it was, and I didn't tell him. It was funny. It's funny. So yeah, for me, if I go down, if I smell something, or I see a temple, yeah, it's normal for me. But definitely, it'll be cool to see that. Yes,
I'm really excited.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Did your brother try the stinky tofu?
He didn't want to try it, no. But he was young. He was young. But this time, he wants to come back maybe early next year, and then he's gonna have to try it for sure. Do you like it?
No.
Okay, I tried it. I'm not a huge fan for sure, but you got to try it for karma's sake, right?
yeah, and like I tried it. One of my students' parents
Okay.
bought it for me for
Okay.
dinner one night,
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
I think they knew what they were doing.
Oh, for sure they did. For sure they did. Beautiful.
Pretending to be all generous there.
Like, hey, yeah,
Yeah,
foreigners,
so-
stinky tofu. That's a million views right there. So before,
they're my big ones. They're my
Okay.
big ones. Is keep going with the channel, keep
Beautiful.
sharing the love, and yeah, keep going with the platform and keep teaching
I
as
love
many
it.
people. And I've opened some adult classes, and
I love it.
I didn't know how much I would enjoy teaching
Adults are fun.
adults. Yeah, I was like,
they're paying their own money. They want to be there. They genuinely want to chat with you. I love. When I used to teach, adults were fun for sure.
oh, I love the conversations. I love the fact that I'm also learning within those conversations about their lives or their interests and things that they can bring to the table. So everybody's getting something out of the class. It's
Love it.
fantastic. Like
Very
that's
cool.
my Della up there. That's my Della.
All right.
So,
So yeah, I mean, do you have anything you want to add before we call it? You know, they've got your dinner ready for you over there, and yeah. Do you have anything you want to add before?
I'd
we
just
call
like
it?
to say thanks for having me.
Oh gosh, come on, my pleasure.
I've had a lovely evening chatting
Thank
to
you.
you. So
Me too.
thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
That's my
I'll
main
take one
thing.
of these. Do they do that in the UK? I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. We'll take a hug. We'll definitely get a hug
hug
later
you
for sure.
later.
We'll get a hug later.
I'll hug your
Beautiful.
wife first, so it's not awkward.
Okay. No, yeah, for sure. All good. All good. Thank you guys for watching. And in the description below, we will definitely add the links for the Mama Lucy class, right? The classes, the platform. Get in on that. If you want to have yourself a lovely British accent, you know where to go. Appreciate it.
guys.
We will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.